We should also bear in mind that the business cycle can turn, and having some surpluses on hand can allow us to provide targeted support to segments that need help to tide over the downturn. And for a major crisis, we can turn to past reserves. Now, during the global financial crisis in 2008, our accumulated savings allowed us to fund $16.5 billion, or 3/4 of the $20.5 billion resilience package, with the remainder being funded from past reserves. So 16.5 out of 20.5 from current reserves. In 2017, to support the construction industry to tide over a period of cyclical weakness, the government brought forward about $1.4 billion of public sector infrastructure projects to start in FY 2017 and 2018. In planning for FY 2019, we are also faced with the global economic outlook being downgraded by the IMF as global trade tensions grow. More fundamentally, we should not have the mentality of trying to spend everything that we have before the end of each term of government. As part of our long-term approach, we continue to review our plans for the long term and will deploy financial resources where necessary. So on this note, let me briefly reiterate the role of our reserves. Today, the net investment returns contributions, or NIRC, is already the single largest contributor of our revenues, larger than any category of taxes we collect. If we did not have the NIRC framework, we would have had to double our personal income tax collection or our GST collection to raise the same amount of revenue. In fact, we will not even be able to raise the same amount of revenue because it's now the largest category, and doubling all the rest does not give you that same amount. Our reserves are our strategic assets. We are a small country exposed to global forces beyond our control. Our reserves will allow us to tide over a crisis without being reliant on others. We should not underestimate the need for a rainy day fund. Singapore faces particular vulnerabilities given our lack of natural resources. With an economy worth nearly $500 billion a year, we should set aside enough to protect it and our people's livelihoods and future. So let us stay disciplined. Today, we take up to 50% of the expected returns for spending and plow back at least 50% to grow the principal and generate more returns. In this way, both the current and future generations benefit from the reserves, and we can be confident of our future. Now, Mr. Pritam Singh referred to a Business Times article and asked for more data on our reserves so that, I quote, that Singaporeans can crunch the numbers themselves and better understand budget policy trade-offs, unquote. He has also filed a cut on transparency on GIC's performance, which will be answered at the Ministry of Finance Committee of Supply. But let me explain why he is misinformed. Our reserves comprise assets invested by MAS, GIC, and Temasek Holdings. The size of MAS and Temasek Holdings assets is public information. Only the GIC portion is not disclosed, and that is because with the GIC figure, you get the complete picture of our reserves. I was running the Monetary Authority of Singapore during the global financial crisis with ESM Goh Chok Tong as our chairman. And let me tell you that in a crisis where the most powerful central banks in the world and even some of the biggest financial institutions were taken completely by surprise by the speed and scale of the turn in the markets and the global economy. Many things could have gone wrong. We not only rode through the crisis well, but emerged stronger. And having our reserves as a strategic asset played a key role in this. So let us not squander this strategic advantage that we have. Our reserves serve as a strategic defense to deter parties who wish to undermine the interests of Singapore and Singaporeans. Such moves go beyond currency speculation attacks to other types of threats. As Mr. Mohammad Ashad noted, we live in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Our reserves, like our investments in defense and security, give us the confidence to plan long-term, knowing that we will have the ability to take care of our people and to defend our sovereignty.